I should now share. Hi, everybody. I hope you hear me very well. I am here to speak about the talk. So let's share my screen and show you my slides. So let's do that. So my name is Snopko. I'm here from Storyblock, and I am going to talk about going fast and furious and going headless with Nuxt.js or Nuxt, because people probably say it's only a Nuxt. So what we will be creating today, we will be using a Headless CMS together with a framework built in the Vue.js Nuxt to build a website with the articles, with showing them on the homepage, and we will do everything in Scratch basically in the next 40 minutes. We have our 45 minutes, and hopefully we will get also some time to answer your Q&A. I have here on the left side open also the chat and your Q&A, so I see what I'm writing. So if you write something, write me. And I have here also some cheat sheets, because this will be a live coding session more or less. So that was enough about just the first word. And now a little bit about me. I'm Samuel Snopko. I'm currently working as the head of developer relations at Storyblock. And I was like building the website I was like saying always I'm front end, I had the CSS guru and all that stuff. But I love like to speak with my backend developers and with the designers. So I was like also kind of design ops, like bridging all the gaps in the engineering teams. And that's probably what brings me to the communities and to speakings. And I really loved the moment as I found out about the Nuxt and Vue, because I really love the technology. The learning curve is great. And after some time, I find out I'm missing only one thing, and that's like something where I can take care of my content, because those huge monolithic systems were kind of complicated, and it wasn't working very well with the custom frame from the frameworks I wanted to use. I thought like it should be like different, it should be easier. And then I found out about Storyblock, and I started to build the stuff with Storyblock and Nuxt.js, and that's the today talk. So I am going to talk about these two technologies, and we will going to build something together. If you want to follow me, I don't have a really like more slides. I have like 4 more slides, I think. But we are going to now jump directly to live coding, and we will do a demo how to build something with the Nuxt.js and the Storyblock, or the Headless Cms in general also. If you want to see all the code I will be showing you, you can follow me also on the github.com/storyblock/talk-blazingly-fast Nuxt.js. So what and how to start with Storyblock? That's a very good question. So first question I always try to do, and I always try to build my own startup like Boilerplate, and it was always like somehow not up to date, because I was like there was new features, and the developer cycle, like the innovations are so fast right now that doesn't really make a sense. Just go for a create Nuxt app. And using this create Nuxt app using the yarn or npm, and you can just name your project, and it will do everything for you, and you will get the latest version of the Nuxt, of the technology you need. So in this case, I'm going to just keep the name. I'm going to use and set up it for JavaScript. Use the yarn as a package manager, and then of course I'm going to use a Tailwind CSS. In this case, I'm quite happy with it, and I'm quite a big fan of Tailwind CSS, which I wasn't at the beginning, because I was like a huge fan of like building everything with Sass. But really, like Tailwind CSS make your work really faster. But you have already like a lot of others now at the base. We will need Axios. In this case, because we will be requesting our data using the Axios, the HTTP client. And then we are not going to do any linting today, but of course, for a real project, go for it and set up it. It's the best and easy ways to use the already presets built by the Nuxt team. The testing, of course, I would also recommend, but for for the next 40 minutes, doesn't make a sense. We are going to build the universal application, which can be a server-side rendered or a static site generated. So basically, you can like generate it statically and then just host it universal Netlify, or even the same setup you can use it for Netlify, Versal, AWS, and all other technologies. So it's really like up to you where and how you want to use it, and you're just still building the same approach and just have a little bit different list of features. Okay, and we are going for a Jamstack, because I'm the big fan also of the Jamstack and static hosting, because I think it's really powerful. It's the security. There are like many pros why you should think about it, and not you should check it out if you've never heard about the Jamstack and the static. Then, of course, I'm using a VS Code. So for me, the JS config is up to date. And this is like just my GitHub username and the Git if I want to set up everything very easily. And that's it. So now this will install and set up everything I need to start the Nuxt.js. And basically we will end in the repository like this. I make already like some shortcuts that we will save some time. And here you can see I just already run the yarn dev. So my project is already running on the localhost here. So let's check it out first. What and how does it look like? So if I go here, you can see that it's localhost, and I see like the welcome string from the Nuxt.js, which is like saying like the name of my project, and also like here's like some headline and 2 buttons which point me to the Nuxt documentation or the GitHub repository of the Nuxt. And this is also great. You can follow all those documentation. There's great resources to learn the Nuxt. Of course, the Nuxt is basically ready, and we could deploy it if we would like to. So what next? What do we need to do next? It's like to think about like where we will keep our content, because the content is, especially for the content editors, all the marketers, and all the people you are working at the end of the day with, and you should make them happy as developers, because it's not only about us developers to make us happy, they also need to be able to change the content the way they need. So, and for that, we are going to use a Storyblok in this case, which is Headless CMS, and you can check it out, but I'm going to just log in. So like normally you would sign up and log in, and I will literally going to create everything from scratch. So I now like hitting the create new button, space. And here from the options, I'm choosing to create new space. I'm not going to play with demo. It's not literally, it's nothing. It's preset up. There will be just some default components which we are adding to every space. And if I'm saying space, I mean projects. We call them spaces because these spaces can represent not only a website. It could be an application, could be anything in Internet of the Things. So let's add a name. And for that, exactly, I have this cheat sheet here that I can copy, paste the names, and don't do a typos. So I'm going to create a space and literally like skip the tutorial because I'm your tutorial today. And here we jumped directly to the content section of the Storyblok, which we of course you have here some overview of what's happening in your page. But now let's jump to the content and think a little bit, look what we have here. So we are here at home, which is representing a content type page. So it's basically our page, or it's like our story, as we call them, because the stories doesn't have to always represent a website. So here if I click on the home, I don't have a visual preview, which is like one of the features the Storyblok is really proud about, or we are proud about, is that we are visual preview. It's not set up, so it's like here is a little bit tutorial how to do it. But on the right-hand side, and also like if I focus only on the content, like I could hide it, I could already see my content. So here I have some components created, which are predefined for me just by us, and I can like reorder them. As you can see, I can like click them and change the hello world to a hello DevDays. I could save it, I could publish it, and now I could request it using the API, or the publish would trigger the webhook without having any preview. But we would like to see it. And then also, of course, I can see how it would look like the draft JSON of my content, etc. So all that stuff. But so this is only proving that, okay, you can start using your content, you can start editing it. But we still have now 2 things. We have a Headless CMS, which holds our content, which is Storyblok, and we have a Nuxt application, which shows a local host, which welcome page. So what do we need to do now? So we need to definitely connect those 2. So, and we can connect them with using access token. Here in the Storyblok, we are already showing you the access token here, or you can go directly to the settings and create like multiple access tokens for multiple environments. Up to you. So we are going to need to use this access token, and we will going to use it by installing a Storyblok Nuxt module. So if I go to package.json, or if I would like write a yarn install Storyblok Nuxt, we will be installing a Storyblok Nuxt module here. And we installed the version 2.0.1 at the moment. So it's like the new major version, which we updated like a few weeks ago. So this is like the first time you see also the new version of the Storyblok connection, Storyblok bridge on the conference. So what next? So we just install it, and we have it in the Nuxt modules project. Now we need to go to configuration of the Nuxt modules. And here in the Nuxt config.js, which is a configuration file for Nuxt, we can see that there is this code, and we will just replace this access token with our new token. So we just create it. So I'm just adding it here, and we will just wait till the project will be basically recompiled, rebuilt, and then we will see maybe a result change. So let's check it out. So let's see the home. or let's see the first localhost, if there is any change. So it's loading because it's taking a little bit time. Do we get a localhost? No, and there is like no change, but we don't see any error. So it's like quite good. So what we need to do next is that we are going to into our project here. And we would like to probably see the visual, use our visual editor. So we'd like to see my localhost and do all the editings here instead of always opening a new tab with the visual editor. So let's first fix that. So for that, I just need to take basically my localhost address and go to my project, to the settings. And here in the general, I can override the location of the default environment, or I can just add a different production environment URL. So it's like a preview URLs. So now I can save it. I could go to content and I could open the home page. And now we should do a reload. And we see that there is localhost/home and we get an error. And this is surprise, a good error, because we know that we already connected it to the localhost, as this is a Nuxt error. Here on the bottom, you can see that it's coming from the Nuxt. And the reason why we are getting this error is that because Nuxt doesn't know or recognize the path home. So even if we go for production, he wouldn't recognize it also. So what we need to do now is to basically go to the settings of my story, because we could also define a special mapper or router in the Nuxt application, which would resolve the home to the index page, because here in the pages of the story block, we just have an index page. It doesn't have a home.view. So we could change that index to home, or we can go to the config and change the real path to the slash, because we wanted that our home Slack or our home page is represented by the index page. So in this case, I just said that this home will be always empty slash in the visual preview. So and now I can see my welcome screen in the visual editor. So great, I just connected them, but I still don't see the content. So here I have a grid, I have a teaser, but I don't see this content on my page. So what should I exactly do for that? So to understand this and what we are going to do, we need to go step back. So these are all the components. So the page is defined a component, and also teaser and grid, these are the components that we defined for this project, and you can define as many as you want. So if I click the add block, you can see the list of all the components we defined. And if I go back one step, I didn't save it, so let's go one step back and go to the components, and I can see also all of my components in this space or project. And at the moment, I have 4 of them: feature, grid, page, and teaser. And one of them is a content type, which is used to create a new stories. So here in the content, if I'm going to create a new entry, I can choose which content type I want to create. So of course, I would go for component. And if and on those pages or on those content types, you want to create some blocks or some nestable components, as we call them, nestable. So we have 2 types of the components. The first one is the nestable, and you can nest them into any other component. So you can nest them also into the nestable components or in the other content types, and you can set a bunch of rules for them. So if I click on the feature, you see that there's only one field defined at the moment, and it's called the name, and it's type text. On the grid, otherwise, we are using a special field type, which is called blocks, and it's named grid, and it's type blocks. And this means that I can add here any other components inside. So here, for example, I can allow to add only features, and I set rule that only features will be allowed to add it to be into the grid. And now the page, the same approach. I added here there only a body, but I could add it also their footer and other fields just by writing simple here a footer and adding and defining the schema of it. So then the body will accept of any other nestable components as we didn't set any other rules. And the last component we have as a teaser, and this is just basically accepting headline as a type text. So great, we understand. We have some schemas, we define some component in the Headless CMS story block. So what do we need to do to show them here on the home page? So for that, we need to accept that Nuxt knows how to render them and also how to load them. So let's do that. So let's first create those components. So here in the components, I already prepared myself. So here I have a page. And the page, as you can see, is a very simple Vue.js component with a little bit template and a little bit script. And the script is just expected to get some block, which is a prop, with a type object, and this block will basically will contain all the data. So if I go here and show you this JSON, then basically what we are looking for is this content, which will be basically our page content, and we will send it as a block to the page. And then you can see here that I'm also using a dynamic component of the Vue.js to decide dynamically which component will be rendered, because this content has a body, and this body is an array of the components. So here I have two components, and if I open this component, then here is said like, okay, this is a component teaser, and the headline attribute which we define there has a value hello DevDays. So okay, I know that this is a component teaser. So in my code here, this component knows that if this is block.component is equal to teaser, I should render a teaser component. So and teaser component looks like this. So this is even simpler, like a little bit tail and styling, and we are going to render a headline as the H2. And we continue, then you can see that there's like same approach all the time. I'm just sending a property, all my the content of the component as a block, and then rendering it. Then we have, of course, the feature, which is rendering the name as H2 with a little bit styling. And then, of course, the grid more or less simulate the same behavior as the page, because in this case, we don't know what kind of features or what kind of components would be in the grid originally. So here we are rendering the unordered list of the list items, and every list item is represented by the component. So in this case, this will be always returned as a feature. Great. So we have grid, feature, and the teaser, and we just define it. I just showed them, but we need to also register them. So for that, for the registration, I will approach a little bit older approach, but we need to tell the Nuxt.js, hey, we expect to render these components. So here I'm creating a plugin called components.js, which will register my components in the Nuxt. So here you just see like I'm importing page, teaser, grid, and feature. And now all I need to do is go one more time into the config. And here in plugins, if I find this correctly, I need to also uncomment the plugins line so that Nuxt.js knows that, okay, we will be rendering these components. So everything is now again rebuilding. And in the moment, we should probably see a change. So let's wait. Yeah, it's rebuild it. So let's close this and see if anything changes. So like I do just one more time real, see that there's like no change. And the reason is very simple why there is no change, because we didn't load the data still. If you remember, I never show you the code of loading the data from Storyblock. So we installed the Storyblock Nuxt connection, but we didn't load it. So let's do that. So for that, I'm going to page the index view, and basically I will close all my tabs to don't confuse you. And here we just need to remove the welcome screen code. So this is the original default Nuxt code, and I will uncomment my code. So my code is going to just decide which components we are going to render. So in this case, I could replace this also by the, because we are always rendering the page. But if we would have multiple ways or multiple content types like page, article page, etc., this will like that also works. I don't need anymore the logo because we are not going to render this Nuxt logo anymore. Then I need to uncomment this code, which is the code basically rendering the data, and then styles. I'm going to remove it because we are using the tailwind, and I can save it. So what we are doing here, let's get through it. So we are doing here that we are going to like create like a expected story with the content attribute, and there will be our content. And then here you can see that story.content will decide which content type will be rendered. In our case, it will be always page. And then in the async data hook of the Nuxt, we are going to, according to the context, we are going to load the data. So here in the context, we are just asking our Storyblock API, which was installed already with the Storyblock module, to get me the data from the home story. And the home story is here, the home story, because you can see here down, there's just like home. So I expect in the home, in the draft mode, and I will resolve some relations, which I will do that later. This is, of course, statically always asking for the home, but normally you would like to find out the real slug, for example, according to the root path, on the version also according to the environment variables, for example, or where you are, depending on that, where you are deploying. So, okay, so now all I need to do is like save. And if I open the home, we should see a change. So, and yes, we see the Hello Days basically code, and I can start editing. So I can go to teaser, and I can do like hello, and I can save it. And after save, I need to reload. And this is a little bit tricky. We could do it better. So in the Next.js, we have the option, and also in the Next.js, Vue, React, etc. In all modern JavaScript frameworks, we have also the options to use a little bit better. So we can create a story block bridge between the story block and the Next to have a real-time editing updating. So in this case, I'm going to create a Storyblock bridge with Storyblock instance, and the Storyblock bridge will be listening basically to the inputs, to the events of input, publish, and change. And according to the input, it will be updating my content. So here, if everything works correct and is a rebuild, we should already see this behavior. So first of all, we see the dash. So we enhance the visualization of the code already with some code. And I now can click on different features here, on different components. And on the right-hand side, the correct features or component is open. And now if I say like, hey, hello, DevDays, I have also the real-time editing experience. I can also like reorder, and not only that, I can have also something like inter-context editing. So like, hey, duplicate this or add something or move this forward, and you can see, hey, we have the live edit. And this is very important because I didn't hit the save to see the reload, to see the change. And why I'm saying this is like, because if you have a versioning system where you have like changes, like versions of your content, if you would have to hit always save to see the new preview of your content, you would have a really polluted save here, polluted history there. So now I can just experiment with my stuff. So I just copy paste it, add it here, then maybe go to the grid, select all the features, copy paste it, add it on the bottom. Oh, sorry, I need to copy paste all of them, added them. And I could, if I would be happy, I could save them. And now I could like see like, okay, does it work on the mobile? And oh, okay, maybe it doesn't work. So maybe I should remove all of these features, and will it be done better? So yeah, this is much better. So maybe I can change the order. So let's add a teaser, or I don't need this teaser. And then of course you will hit the save only if you really need and want to save it. Or even you can like go even go a little bit more crazy and just go like drag and drop and see how your content's behaving. So this is what how cool can it be, like working with a model framework like Next.js and Storyblocks together with Headless CMS, because you can achieve this with basically every framework there. So Nuxt, Svelte, etc. But in the Nuxt, I also promise you to create the articles, and I don't see articles here. So let's do it quickly because I still have 20 minutes. And what we need for it is we will need to create a new component for the article. So first of all, let's create a component article, and it will be a content type, not a page. And I'm going to next, and I'm going to add to this the following field. So it will be hero image. Then I'm going to add title, intro, and outro. So title, intro, author, and prose, where we will keep our text in this case. And now I need to, of course, set up the field types. So here the article. So the hero image will be, of course, the asset, and I'm going for image. Then the title is, let's make it required, but its text is okay. The intro, I would love to go for text array, so the longer one. Then let's do the author. So in the case of author, there would be a multiple options how to do the authors, because that could be also the other stories, and you can link other stories using the single options or multi options. But or you can even like link from external sources. But in this case, I would go for a single option, and I will define not the source somewhere outside, but I will define the sources directly in my component. So in this case, I will go from Samuel and Dominic. And the last thing is the prose, where you could choose like how you will write the text. It could be also like multiple components, or you can go for a markdown, which you can also like quite nicely adjust, or you can go for rich text, which I prefer love because you can customize this. You can even add and use also custom CSS classes, or even add components inside it. So I now save it, and so basically I just define my article content type. And I didn't do anything in the Nuxt, in the framework, so I can arrange it. So normally I would be now blocked or the content editor or the writer would be blocked because he wouldn't be able to write the article in the system because there is no rendering and not preview sometimes for this. So what you could do now is just create a new folder. Let's call it articles. And in this folder, I can tell him like, hey, you know what? You can create articles. Like create here article, call it article 1, whatever. And like as we don't have the visual preview, just like hide the visual preview and use the normal preview. So like we can upload the image. So let's upload the image number 1 and confirm it. And I will copy some text from here because I prepared some text. So for intro, and choose the author as a SAML, and of course there would be my text of the article, and I can save it. So I just created the first article, let's say, and now I can like duplicate it. So it will be like article number 2. Let's change there only image. Did we see some changes? And let's add it. I'll change the author to Dominic also, and let's make a new headline. Story blog is cool. Okay, so I can save it. And now let's create also a number, or let's do this. Copy number 3, duplicate, and I can edit it. Let's start at 3, confirm, and yeah, let's keep myself as the author. Let's wait a few seconds, just the image will be updated. Great, save it. I created 3 articles. I can now, let's say, publish it. Okay, great. Let's publish it. And now the question is like, hey, I would like to like by hand picked them on the like feature them. So here in the visual preview, I would like to feature them here in this area. So I would need to code something, but also I would probably need to add here a new component to like feature those articles. So let's do it. Let's go to the components. Let's create a new featured articles component. It will be nestable in this case. I hope that I didn't write it wrong. I definitely, it should be minus. So, and here in the featured articles, I need to basically add only one field called articles. And these articles, I'm going to change to multi-option because I want to choose it by hand, and I want to choose it from the existing. So it will be like stories, articles folder, and I will be then choosing a stories from an articles folder. So save it, and now I can use it. So if I go to content, go to home, I can add a new block called featured articles, and here I can choose all of my articles. I can save it, and if I go now to draft.json publish, I can go scroll down, and you see here there is a new component called featured articles, and here I have all of my IDs of those 3 articles. Great, that's nice. So in the next, what do we need to do in the next that it works? So what we need to do is basically we created a featured articles component with a little bit CSS, Tailwind styling. I still have it sometime. That's nice. Then of course here we have we are rendering also some block title, which we have to fix because I forgot it. And then here is just a list of those articles where we are rendering those articles or preview for those articles as article teaser. So what is the teaser? That's a different component again. And the article teaser component is here rendering the title of the article, intro of the article, and the outro of the article, which we defined a few seconds ago in the story block. So great, and just getting the data from the props, of course. And even here, we are using also the Storyblock image service to resize the images that we uploaded. So here you can see that I am resizing the images, and the image is then used here as a resized image. So great, and that's all is basically also for free for you if you are using only the basic version of the Storyblock. But that was enough of the ads. So let's see what does it work. So we need to go to components.js. And now also uncomment these 2 components that we are going to use them. But of course, the Nuxt knows that, okay, I'm going to render this. So now it's rebuilding. It's already done. And if I show you here the preview, then I see already previews. That's great. So there are 2 questions. So let's first fix the title. So define the schema, add here a title. Add a title. And the title is OK. And the title will be like featured articles. Great. I have a featured article with it. I can save it, or I can just start playing with it. So I can reorder it. And you can see that this lady will now go on the last place. And again, on the first place, I can save it and can publish it. And the webhook we will be trigger, and we will be deploying, for example, to Versa or Netlify. Great. So I just did and show you like how to do very quickly the preview of the article, but how does it work? Because I showed you in the draft.json API that I am sending only the only the IDs. So for that, we had these resolve relations. So you don't have to go for use a GraphQL. You can still do it with us without that. And here you're just saying like resolve relations is saying like, hey, please resolve these IDs in the component called featured articles the featured articles component, and in the field articles as a real component. And you can go 2 levels deep. So basically, instead of getting only IDs, I'm getting the whole story, so whole object of the article. And the same thing I'm doing also for the first request. So that's the one magic. And the second magic you are maybe asking about is like how works this editing, like how to can move it like backwards, how can like drag and drop it, how can I do the duplication, and for example change, like use the same articles. Now I can just remove the Dominic's articles and rename this to Samu else articles, which is the power of the atomic design, that I am using the same component for a different purposes. So now I just created the website that I can publish, and I have like new website. So the live also works thanks to the Storyblock directive here, the v-edit table, where in the draft mode we are sending a special identifiers, and then in the Storyblock bridge we are listening to the input, which I already showed you. So that's only one catch you can also then change your code for, and that's it. So all of it and all of it for free, basically getting very fast, and you can create a tool that your marketers, your content editors will love, because they can experiment, they can change it. I think really they are not blocked by the developers or by us to get what they need. So that's it. So I created something. You can follow it, me, and follow the code. You can also like continue and create this multi-language website with on the following link on the storyblock.com/tp/Nuxt multi-language website tutorial. Or if it's too long, just go to Storyblock Nuxt hub we have. So storyblock.com/tc/Nuxt, and you will find all the resources for the Nuxt to learn Nuxt, but also like to how to connect with Storyblock and how to do multiple stuff, like building your own blog, like your own videos blog. So blog posting and basically Medium in 7-part tutorial with videos, all the different videos, how to do e-commerce with Nuxt and Storyblock. So all that you will find in this technology hub. Of course, that's not all. You should start there, which I just mentioned. So this technology hub. And of course, I want to also thank not only you, but also to the team that is behind the Storyblock. Because the Storyblock team, you will change this to see if there are any questions. So because the Storyblock team, of course, works on daily basis on this, and it's very, very, very important to see that I'm not only one who is like there. I'm like just presenting the great work of all the people who are building this stuff. So from Nuxt.js, from the Vue.js community, from the Storyblock community, and these people are building and thinking about all the features. So thank you guys and girls. And that's it. I think the last slide is the Q&A. So thank you very much. I'm happy to answer those questions because I think we have still some time to left. So basically we have almost 10 minutes for Q&A, so it worked pretty well. Q&A, I don't see any questions in Q&A. And the chat, I see no questions in chat. Okay. Yep, we have still 10 minutes, and I'm not sure if anybody is watching at the moment because it's not showing me the tool if there is anybody. So that I should tell that to the organizers, that it will be nice to see if anybody is watching. Oh, maybe I will show you a little bit more here. What is cool is like, of course, go and check out the e-commerce with View Storefront. That's a pretty interesting and very, very, very interesting for the future. This is also cool, like how the Debbie tries the Nuxt with Storyblock. So 1 hour or 1 hour 50, we had a pretty nice stuff there. And that she's the Nuxt ambassador or an ex-head of the developer relations there. So like there was like she's like really skilled in the Nuxt, of course. And you have like here all the expert topics, like you can see pretty nice case studies, and even of course we have a cheat sheet for you. So like go for the next cheat sheet and you can like get it. Oh, there's somebody writing. I'm watching. Nice. I'm thank you. So if you have any questions, like let me know, because that would be super cool to have a question. And also like if I'm saying like something about Storyblock from APIs. You can do it also like you can use our management events. You don't have to do anything what I showed you in the UI of the Storyblock. So here in the UI, you don't have to do it like by clicking all the schemas definition here. You can do it through the management API if you prefer like coding here. So you can create like set up all the stories, all the schemas, and you can download everything. It's at the end, it's your content. And of course, we have like this is the next topic, but we don't have 3 like technology hubs for like Next, Nuxt, and Gatsby. But of course, we have like quite nice tutorials for other technologies, from the JavaScript-based frameworks to even like PHP, Laravel, Ruby, Django, Python, or even if you go to the content delivery API, you can also use this also with Kotlin, of course, and Swift. Or Kotlin is somewhere also. So I think the Kotlin is C# at the moment. I'm not sure. Or Java. So you will have all the samples also in those languages. Just go for it and try it by yourself. Anyway, thank you for watching. So at least that one person who wrote me that it's watching. There's like 27 viewers. Nice. And probably I will finish soon if there will be like no question anymore, because what I could show you is still there's like also way to apps. So this is very important stuff about the Headless CMS. In general, we are not even if we are Headless CMS and we are like service as a software as a service. You can edit, you can change them, and you can extend them. So you can build your own apps. There is way to extend them. You can build your own apps. You can build your custom field apps. You can do all that stuff you would need to do and wanted to do for your CMS if you need to build something pretty custom for your customer. So you can do all of that. You can like connect them with the e-commerce systems. You can connect them with the databases, which contains all the like comments or like the users. So all of that is possible. What you just need to do is like go for it. And why the Headless CMS is cool at the end of the day is that it will save you a lot of time by updating and keeping consistent everything. So you don't have to take care of every small thing. You don't have to take care of the updates, security updates, how the databases are working, etc. Because all of that is taken care of by the experts on our side. So you are getting basically kind of for free. You're just paying monthly service, of course, but for that you are getting like updates for the database. They are getting faster, and even without noticing that somewhere, or just not notice, of course, it's faster, but you don't have to do anything to update it. That's the key point there. So I think really that is everything for me. So this is the story block, and this is the Nuxt.js. So go for it, try it. I think like both of them are great. And one more time, thank you very much for the talk. If you want to check one link and you want to do one screenshot, do the screenshot of this, and you will find everything there what you need. See you, and have you a nice rest of the conference. And I'm leaving.